Hey, what's up everybody, Isaac here with another Conqueror's Blade video, and today I'm going to bring to you a quick guide on what units you should be unlocking in Season 13. Are you a fresh start player, somebody returning to the game? We've been having a lot of returning players and a little bit of an uptick in some fresh start players, so let's jump right into it. You want to be the most impactful you can out on the battlefield without wasting your time working on the wrong units. So, Season 13, as things sit right now, of course they're always changing the meta with updates and with new seasons, but as of October 11th, 2022, this is my guide for what you should be unlocking. And we are going to start right away. Press U brings you to the unit tree. And we have 5 different branches here. We got melee, ranged, cavalry, knights, rat and army. Right up at the top, melee infantry. Palace guards, probably one of your first units you want to work towards. And the most important unit on this whole unit tree is the Catapult Lancers, and they are in the cavalry tree. So we got Palace Guards, number 1, Catapult Lancers, your number 1 cav you want to get, but you probably do want to get that one good infantry first. So get the Palace Guards, get the Catapult Lancers, and those are the 2 main important things. Range, there's not much here that you should be worrying about. The Shenjis, they're a good unit, but they're semi-situational, not something that you want to have out on the field at all given time. So I personally wouldn't spend time on grinding honor for these guys immediately. Eventually, I would say get them, but not first priority. Get your Palace Guards. Get your Catapults. Eventually, the Winged Hussars are good to get. The purple cav here, once you have the golden cav, you're not really going to be using them. These ones are okay, but I wouldn't be wasting your honor on them. Get the Catapults, worry about this stuff sometime down the line. And then the Knight tree, we got the Monastic Knights. Nothing here is very viable. The Monastic Knights are okay, don't waste your time getting them right away, but long term, you want to get them. Nothing in this Rat and Army, nothing that you need to worry about. Rat and Rangers, they recently got a buff, but they're still not that great. You want to have some fun eventually down the road, unlock this stuff, but don't waste your precious honor unlocking these units right off the bat. So, that kind of covers it for the unit tree. And seasonal challenges. Get those by pressing F5, click on Season Challenge, and we want to switch seasons, we click right up there. Let's start way back at the beginning. Season 2. Should we be working on Season 2? No. Cash eggs, they've been up and down. There's been times when they've been the most powerful unit in the game, but right now is not one of those times. Don't worry about Season 2. Season 3. 2 good units, Falconetti Gunner, Fortebraccio Pikeman. Really good units. They're more of a utility unit, not something you want out on the field at all given times, but eventually units you should get, but not right away. So let's move right along. Season 4, anything to worry about here? No, don't worry about it. Sildars, they're decent, but not worth prioritizing, spending your precious time to unlock. So let's move right along. Season 5. Sifnario, extremely good unit. Very, 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 very good unit, but very situational. Definitely not something you want out on the field at all times. So, for a bang for your buck standpoint, I wouldn't bother with these right away. Get them eventually, but not right away. And Season 6. This is where we get to one of the units that you want to have. The Outrangers, one of the most busted units at the moment. They've been up, they've been down, and they're back up again. Recently they got a buff. We've gotten a chance to use them over the last week, and yep, they buffed them just a little bit too much, like usual, but we'll see. As of now, something you want to have, absolutely, but you would think they'd get a nerf in the near future, but we know how that goes. Sometimes things get nerfed in a week. Sometimes they get nerfed after 2 seasons to 3 seasons of being way too powerful for way too long. So, very important unit. Could be arguably the first one you go for, but let's move along and we will work that out. Season 7. Very good unit, the Shield Maidens. Berserkers, they're decent. Some people think they're really, really, really good, but they're not that great. They're okay situationally. They're good for walls. They're good for keeping people from climbing ladders, but they're not OP. But if you unlock the Shield Maidens, you have to unlock the Berserkers along the way, so you get 2 good units out of it. Sons of Fenrir, they're good. Not going to bother talking about them though. Blue unit, so not really a meta unit. Let's move right along. So, Season 6, we have one really good unit. Season 7, we have another really good unit, the Shield Maidens. Shield Maidens, Liaos, both very meta units. Season 8. No extremely meta units here, but we do have 2 very good units. The Grey Garrison, Medal Battalion. Both very good, very legit units. But I wouldn't bother working on this season right away because there's just some more powerful units to work on. So, moving right along. Season 9. Anything you should get here? No, don't bother. Outriders, they're a good unit to have, but not meta. Grenadiers, you can unlock those from the unit tree or by grinding them out from the seasonal challenges. Nice thing about doing it from the seasonal challenges instead of the unit tree is you don't have to waste honor. But the reality is, not going to be the most important unit for you to get right away, so don't worry about wasting time on them. Eventually, yes, you should get them, but for now, I would spend your time elsewhere. Season 10, and I actually don't even have either of these 2 unlocked, so I guess you could probably guess that I didn't find them that important, so I don't think you should find them that important. Season 10, just skip it. Reason I didn't unlock them, I think I was playing on a different character on a different server, and I didn't find it that important to come back and grind them out. Eventually I will, just because I like to have all the units unlocked just for fun, but don't bother with Season 10. Bang for your buck wise, don't bother with it. Not for now. Save it for later. Season 11. What do we got here? We do have one very strong unit in the Chevaliers. The first 2, I don't find much use from. The Alchemists, it can be okay as a filler unit. You know, you got your 2 gold units and you have just enough room to fit your Alchemists. They're okay. They're nice to have in big groups of your units, and they're healing up your units because they can do a little passive heal on your units out on the battlefield. But the main thing here we're looking at is the Chevaliers. So, very good unit. Probably not something I would prioritize, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but one of the strong meta units out on the field in the current way of things. So that brings us along to Season 12, and this is the season I'm probably going to tell you I would recommend to do first. That is because of the Varangian Guard for 1, 2, bang for your buck. You only have to get through the Huscarls in order to unlock the Varangian Guard. And the Varangian Guard, even if you did have to work through 3 units, that'd still be worth it. But especially since there's only 2 units, you only have to work through 1 first. It just makes it so much sweeter. So, I personally don't love the mechanics of the Varangian Guard, but they're just so strong from a standpoint of being as impactful as you can, as fast as you can, as efficiently as you can. Probably the season you should start with first. Season 12, get your Varangian Guard, and you're going to be in a pretty good place from a competitive standpoint. So, that takes care of that. Moving on to Season 13, the current season. And the big question, should you be working on Season 13? You're playing in Season 13, but should you be working on Season 13? Well, if you have everything else unlocked, absolutely. But if you're just getting started, you're missing some of the other meta units I talked about, yeah, you shouldn't be. not really the best bang for your buck. If you're just here to have fun, if it gets you excited to unlock the current season units, go for it. But if you're trying to be super competitive and that's how you have fun, trying to be as competitive as possible, I personally wouldn't waste your time working on the Season 13 units for the time being. So, let's go over it real quick. What would I do? I would start with Season 12 first. Get your Varangian Guard. Season 12, get that taken care of. And then I'm going to have to say, get the Liaos after that. So, you already got your Varangian Guard, and if you're working on the unit tree, hopefully then you get your Cataprats, and you have 2 incredibly strong units. But the Liaos are just so overpowered right now. Hard to believe that they don't get nerfed, but if they don't get nerfed, you definitely want to have the Liaos. So I would say get the Varangian first, but the Liaos are so overpowered, I would get them next. So Season 12 is what we're going to start with, the Varangian Guard, and then we're going to go on to get the Liaos from Season 6, and from there, I would probably go on to Season 7 to work on the Shield Maidens, because they really are a great unit. They're one of the funner units to get. Like, personally, they're one of my favorite units to use mechanically, so that's one thing. If you're like, hey, I love the mechanics of the Shield Maiden, they kind of get me excited to play the game, so that's the one I want to work on. Definitely a legit route to go is getting those right away. So personally, I would say get the Varangian Guard, then get the Liaos, then get the Shield Maidens. And then from there, I would say, you could work on Season 8 would be a good option. But otherwise, if you say, no, I'm pretty well set, so I want to start working on getting utility units, probably the next one would be Season 3. Get the Fortebraccio, get the Falconetti. 2 incredible units. They're going to add some good tools to your toolbox. And then Season 5, this is going to be the other one. It only has one good unit, and it's kind of, you gotta work your butt off a little bit to get them. So it's a really good unit, but don't prioritize it just because bang for your buck. It's going to take you a long time to get them, and it's not something that you should have out on the battlefield at all given times. So I think that basically covers it. Back to the unit tree. Get your Palace Guards, but the number one priority here is get the Cataprat Lancers. So those are the 2 main units from the unit tree, and then from there, Varangian Guard, then maybe your Liao Rangers, then your Shield Maidens, and from there, pick and choose. Do you want utility, or do you want some shields? Do you want some anti-cav units that are still good against units? Up to you from there, but definitely prioritize Cataprats, prioritize Varangian Guard, prioritize Shield Maidens, prioritize Liaos. And, you get any of those mentioned units, 2 of those together, you got yourself a heck of a warband. So that's where we sit for Season 13. If you're trying to be as competitive as you possibly can, most bang for your buck, that's how I would do it. So hopefully you learned something from this. If you're a newer player, you got some questions, maybe you're a returning player, meta's changed a lot, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff. So hopefully you got something out of it, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Have a good one.